Hey guys, what's up? 7stop here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about whether every story needs a point, a theme, a message, a philosophical concept, something like that.
And just our view,
our view on how
stuff.
critics view those sort of things in media.
And how they should be portrayed.
Yeah.
How messages should be and stuff.
So, we'll start this off by saying, no, I don't think everything needs a point.
Nope.
I think that something can be amazing and not have a point. But I think that having a message or a theme can enhance a story that's already good or interesting.
Yeah, like
it can take it to the next level.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. That's not the only thing that makes it good. It's not the only thing that matters.
Yeah, there are tons of movies and anime and shows and games where you're just having a fun time. Like, I personally don't really think that MW2 has a point or
it doesn't have a message really,
but I still love
kind
that
of
game.
About war and stuff.
Kind of, but
it's
too
not
much.
really a main point.
No, and that's. But we love that campaign.
Yeah,
we love
it's
that
a great
story.
It's a great game.
We great,
and
we love
the
it.
anime ReZero. I don't really think that ReZero has a point. Some
Not
people
really.
try to argue, but it can be really annoying when people are like, "Oh, it's not good because like, what was the point?" And like Gigux said that. I'm like, the point is to be good. Who cares if it's really good? I think ReZero is really good, and it's kind of underrated in the critical perception.
Yeah, and again, so many like movies are just based and viewed on if they have a point, instantly good. They win an Oscar, but like for example, Avengers Endgame. I'm not saying that should have won the Oscar or anything like that, but still, they didn't. They wouldn't even consider it. But like a film that is purely about a message, ooh, that's the best. It's so much to say.
Yeah,
which will lead. You should talk about Evangelion.
Oh yeah, Evangelion is. I think that Evangelion has lots of great concepts and stuff, but it's in the end, it just kind of flops all of those things. And while I like Evangelion, I like it in spite of all these massive glaring issues. But people act like it's some 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and I think that it's because they only judge it because of the message, which is good, but that's like the only thing it has going for it ultimately, is that the message is really good, and it kind of just like flops in every other perspective.
It just flops. But yeah, that's a huge issue with, like, again, as we said, critics and stuff, and how if it has a point, it's good, and if it doesn't have a point, it's
just
bad.
1 out of 10 garbage.
Yeah, 1 out of 10 garbage. And we're not just talking about like mainstream critics. We're talking about like my anime list critics.
List critics.
And people who only give like things like with messages and stuff. But as we said, you can have a game where you can have like no message, and it can be really fun, and you could be great and stuff like that. Like, great characters and plot are way more important than a message.
Yeah.
All right, like, you could have the greatest like message out there. You could have so much to say. You could have like this, like
so much to say.
So many cool things, interesting concepts and ideas and stuff like that. But if your characters and plot are trash, why should I watch it?
Yeah.
Like there was just no reason for me to get involved in that message and stuff like that. So now we're going to talk about examples of games and movies that do a really great job of combining the two.
And I think that sometimes the best things are usually ones that have a message, but that's not the main point. They also have great plot and characters. But sometimes they can have a really strong message and really strong plot and characters and still be great.
Exactly. So,
I think that Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 has a really awesome and incredibly interesting message and theme, and it also has a really interesting plot that kind of wraps up a lot of the stuff in Attack on Titan in a very satisfying way.
Yeah, good plot and good characters. Now, Attack on Titan doesn't have the best characters, but they're still good.
Yeah.
And they allow you to experience that message, and it has a lot to say as well, but it doesn't like freaking hammer it in, which we'll get to that. But all right, so another thing that I think does a really great job is Danganronpa, the ending of that first game, which we'll have spoilers and stuff. But basically, it's about like how you should always have hope and stuff like that, and that's a really great message. But it works because the characters have hope. It's not just like, oh yeah, you should have hope, but these characters don't have it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And what are some other games? I think Halo 2 also does a great job with that.
Yeah, Halo 2 has a really interesting message about questioning your beliefs and trying to find out the truth and not just believing something because oh, that's the way it always was, or something like that. But it also has an interesting cast of characters and an interesting plot and all of those things.
We care about the message because we care
about the Arbiter. Yeah.
That's why.
Because the Arbiter is such a great character. That's why we're so invested in the message.
That's why we're so invested. And so now we'll talk about maybe games or shows that take the messages a little bit too far, where they hammer it into your head. They're like, this is truth. This is the message. Wrong opinion. So, Danganronpa V3.
Yeah,
we won't
the
spoil.
ending.
Let's not spoil it. But basically,
we already spoiled the first game.
That's true. But,
kind of.
But still, they just hammer in the message that, oh, you guys were wrong. Everything you thought you knew was wrong. Everything's trash, garbage. You're terrible, awful. What you were doing, you were wrong. That was terrible. You all these trash and stuff like that.
They insult their fan base and stuff, and it just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. And again, tons of other like shows and movies and stuff where they just hammer the message in, and you're like, okay, I get it. Like, I don't like being preached to.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between presenting a message and then leaving it up to the audience to think about it, and then and the other on the other side, like there's a difference between that and then just taking the message and just like saying this X interpretation is absolutely true. You must believe this. This is true. This is true. Just like pounding your audience over the head with it. Yeah,
and again, I hate it when like games and shows and everything, they get super preachy and stuff, and they constantly talk about the message over and over and over, and I'm like, okay, I'm more interested in the plot right now.
Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 does it a really good job of what I just mentioned, is leaving it up to the viewer to think about the message and consider it themselves. And I'm writing a book, and something that I'm trying to do in that book as well is do that same thing, where I leave it up to the audience to figure out what the truth is themselves. Like, for example, you know when something really awful happens or you read about it and you always think, how could someone do that? In my book, I depict the main character turning from someone who thought that and then becoming the person who does the evil thing. But I don't tell you how to think about it. I just present the story.
Yeah, you don't tell someone how to think about it. Like, apparently the new Joker movie, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's really good. It just shows a man, like, how like society beat him down and stuff like that, and everything like that. And we live in a society, and stuff like that. But it doesn't say, look, you should feel bad, you should do this stuff. It doesn't say, oh, hey, you should do this stuff. Like, that's where tons of, like, critics and Main Street articles as well get a little bit weird, because they're like, oh, it says you should do this and stuff like that. When a lot of times they just like, no, this is just showing somebody what happened. You can interpret it the way you want, and that's how you're interpreting it. But they're not encouraging to do X just because someone did that. They're not saying, oh, this message, because of this message, you should do this and stuff like that.
And another example of critics judging something basically only on the message and like giving it a 10 out of 10 is like Last of Us 2. It seems like lots of critics gave that a super high score just because of the message and the themes.
Yeah, and like, oh...
And also like how progressive something is. Like, if it has gay people, doesn't matter the quality, the writing...
LGBTQI plus
10 out of 10.
Like that. And yeah, it doesn't care about the writing of the characters. If it has that, then it's amazing. If it has a gay character and stuff like that, absolutely...
So inclusive.
So inclusive, and if it has this view on something, like if it bashes slavery, instantly good or something like that.
If it says Trump is bad, definitely 10 out of 10.
Definitely 10 out of 10. And if it shames American history, all right, we're not going to get super political and stuff like that. But still, if it meets these certain criteria, people are always like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And we're not saying that it can't. It's just sometimes, like, for example, Netflix is like, oh, character development? Screw that! Bam! This person's gay. Instantly, great character and stuff like that. Which again, with The Last of Us 2, instead of looking at it like so many people are talking about the message and stuff like that, when instead they should be talking about the writing, if the plot makes sense, if the characters are justified and stuff like that, and like if the plot makes sense, if the characters are good, if it has a logical reason, stuff like that. But no, they're just like, oh, this person has it, boom, instantly great.
Great message, instantly perfect.
Instantly perfect and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. If you agree or disagree, please leave it in the comments below. If you have any video ideas, leave it in the comments. We'll cover topics, games, anything we've played or watched we'll cover. If we haven't done that,
we'll let you know in the comments.
Yeah, we'll let you know. I respond to the comments, and if you leave a comment suggesting something, I'll tell you if we're going to do it or not. Well, thank you for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye.